All right, welcome back to No One's Watching. If you're here, you shouldn't be. If you saw my last episode, you shouldn't have. And if you plan on ever coming back, don't. Well, I mean, if you did watch my last episode, you probably noticed something a little bit different about me. I know I look ridiculous, but I feel ridiculous. So here we go. Yeah, I just want to talk about the structure of the last video I did. And it was more of a video than an actual podcast, even though I posted that to audio only platforms. It was kind of structured like a YouTube tutorial, like a how to set up a website. And it's kind of just for me to get more comfortable in front of a camera. And this is another attempt at getting more comfortable in front of a camera. Here again, I'm going to try my best to keep eye contact with the camera and talk to you guys directly and try to keep the audio a little bit cleaner this time. I kind of don't really want to edit as much. It was like super edited, the last one. But yeah, I mean, I have a couple of things I want to talk about today. I've been thinking a lot about grocery stores and like versus like Costco and like Sam's Club. I know it sounds stupid as hell to talk about, but like hear me out, right? I typically like to go to the grocery store across the street, and like you have encounters with people of all different kinds when you're at the grocery store, and it's like all unintentional. You may be looking for something in one of the aisles, and somebody come up to you and they'll ask you like, have you found everything that you need? And you're like, I could have swore last week when I was here, this is where the tortillas were. And the employee will tell you, hey man, like turn around. Like the tortillas are right behind you. And like stuff like that happens to me all the time. Or like you'll drop something. I remember one time, right? I was doing, I usually use self-checkout. I don't like talking to people really when I'm at the grocery store, but I was doing self-checkout one time, and my wife made a list. So I'm just going and I'm grabbing all the stuff on the list. And on that list, there was some, I believe, Rouse Alfredo sauce. And while I'm scanning all my goods, I'm tossing them in the bag, and I kind of overstuff bags. So I put this Rouse on top of a pile, like just a straight pile of things. And I go to scan my card to pay, and the Rouse rolls out, and you guessed it, glass jar hits the floor, breaks into a million pieces. And the thing about my local Weiss is that there's some people that work there, and the reaction of one of these guys, he just, as soon as the Rouse hits the floor, he screams out, "No, not the cream of mushroom soup!" And I'm like, what is this guy talking about, right? So I look down. Obviously, I heard it right, but I looked down to see what it was, and it was the Rouse, and it was the Alfredo sauce. So I look up and I was like, "Hey man, it's actually Alfredo." I swear, this guy throws his hands on his head and says, "Not the Alfredo," right? So that's kind of what happens at my local grocery store, and it's right across the street from my house. So that guy's constantly within a mile radius of me because he's there every time I go. But like that kind of stuff is fine to me, when you have a interaction maybe like one out of every 10 times that you go to the grocery store. But the thing that I hate about Costco is kind of the structure of how everything works. All right. Like it's cool. Like it's wholesale. If you want to buy a bunch of stuff, like, I got a family, and sometimes it's better to just buy a bunch of stuff at one time. Like we just bought toilet paper, I think like a month ago, and we'll be good for the next 3 months. I'm relatively sure. Like they don't sell anything under 60 rolls or something like that. And we kind of go back and forth between like Sam's Club and Costco. So, but they kind of have the same build, big ass stuff, lots of stuff for sale. Like you can't buy a small amount of anything. Like maybe like the only normal thing you can really buy there is like eggs, and it's like 18 to a carton. But anyway, what I hate about these places, in particular, I'm going to go with Costco here, because I really only necessarily go to Costco because the chicken bake is a delectable treat, like it's fantastic. Tastes really good. And that's why I go to Costco. I go there for that, right? Like the groceries are kind of like a plus, and typically like I want to go to Costco so that way when I'm done paying for my stuff, I can go quickly grab a chicken bake and get out. Now, it never works like that. I don't remember the last time I ate a chicken bake. I get so frustrated in the store with the movement of the people. Everyone moves in a way. I like to call it like they're limp wristing. No one moves with intention. They're like, oh, let me grab my thing. I'm gonna grab this. They're shuffling their feet up and down the aisles, like they have nowhere to be. It's a Costco trip for them has to be somewhere around 4 hours, because they grab their cart. The place is huge. There's no way they're in and out in 3 hours, because it takes them probably an hour or two just to get to the freezer section and figure out what they want to get there. And they're stopping in the bakery. You know what I mean? Like they're just waddling around, shuffling their feet. Yeah, so there's no intensity in their steps. They don't know what they want before they go there. And I'm kind of big on knowing what I want before I go to a place like that. And there's only really one thing I want. Like I said, it's a chicken bake. I'll go and I'll get stuff just to sustain my life. But other than that, I want to get the chicken bake. But I am so pissed off at what I see there every single time that I'm like disgusted. Now I'm like, you know what? I can't be in this store for another second. Like I have to get out of here. Chicken bake's not worth it. But I end up always going back to try to get the chicken bake again. And another thing that I don't really like is there's been a couple times where I like to get my batteries from Costco. And when you're looking for a particular item and it's an item that you get often, you would expect, like if you go to your local grocery store and you want to know where, let's see, where the cereal aisle is, you go down, you don't even have to look up at the signs anymore. Like you've been there so many times, where they keep the Raisin Bran, where they keep it. It's there every time. I don't even eat Raisin Bran, but I know where the Raisin Bran is. Now, if you go to a place like Costco or Sam's Club and you want batteries, good luck, you're going on a hunt. This is a treasure hunt now. You're Christopher Columbus, you're now on a hunt for the new world. If the new world is batteries, like that's what you're going for. So, and you can do the thing, right? You can go up to somebody, the guy working the AT&T booth, who's selling phones. I mean, and you can ask him because he's usually typically in the electronic section. Batteries are typically in the electronic section, and you can go ask him like, "Hey man, do you know where the batteries are?" And some days, he's like, "Yeah, batteries are right here." But the next time you go, he's like, batteries are actually, they put them somewhere next to the croissants. So you're like, where's the croissants? They're like, probably the refrigerator aisle. And I'm not talking about the refrigeration aisle. I'm talking about like a place where you can go buy refrigerators. And you're like, why would they put batteries next to the croissants that are also next to the refrigerator? And the guy never has an answer. He's like, I don't know why they do what they do. But like you have to like understand, like it's such a big place. And there's so much stuff in there that I'm pretty sure that they do it on purpose. So that way you have to walk around the whole entire store. So maybe you see something that you wouldn't normally see and maybe you want to buy that thing. And I think that's slightly, it's like super smart. Like, don't get me wrong, super smart. Get people to move around the store. I just wish they'd do it faster. But it's also like disrespectful. Like I'm here with intention. You're forcing me to be a droning Costcoer or a Sam's Clubber, I don't want to be that guy. And maybe that's a me thing, and maybe I just need to go to my local Weis or ShopRite or Vons or Kroger. You know what I mean? I need to go to one of those smaller stores where the same thing is in the same place every single time, and I don't have to go on a manhunt for some double A's. But yeah, I mean, it's probably just gonna have to end up going to a grocery store or something like that, like a normal sized grocery store where the freaks are there, the freaks are still at the local grocery store. But the only difference between that is that the freaks are working at the local grocery store, not just sliding around in some slippers, looking at Kirkland collared t-shirts. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to talk about, something that happened to me at work today. And I thought it was a little bit ridiculous, and I don't know how long I'll be able to make this story or how long I'll be able to stretch this out. But I was at work today, and I'm basically in the operation, I'll say, and a guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey man, do you have a monster on you?" And I'm like, "On me?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "No." I was like, "Nah, I don't have one." He's like, "Do you have one like in the refrigerator?" And I was like, "It's like, nah, Baron, I didn't bring a monster today." And he's like, And I was like, why? He's like, oh, well, I forgot to grab a Monster or an energy drink or something before I came in. Like, I was just hoping that somebody else had one that they could spot me. And I was like, nah, man. And there's like a gas station, probably like 5 minute drive away. But and I don't have anything to do for a little bit. And I was just like, I'm not going to offer. What would I offer? That's crazy. Offer to do something. No. So anyway, about I would say about 10 minutes later, I'm going downstairs, right? And there's an elevator at my job, and I hop in the elevator, and same guy's in the elevator, and he brings up the Monster again. And I'm like, okay, like now I feel like you're hinting that you want me to go grab you a Monster. So he brings it up again, and I'm just like, hey man, like, I was like, I got like an hour until I have to be somewhere. And he's like, I was like, do you want me to go grab you a Monster? And like, at this point, I'm like, I could probably use a Monster too. I could use an energy drink. And he looks at me, and he looks at me, and he says, I said, because my exact verbiage was, would you like me to go grab you a Monster? Right? And this guy looks at me, and he says, you could grab these nuts. And I look at him. It's just me and him in this elevator. So I look at him. I said, hey man, we're alone in here. And he starts laughing, right? I'm like, it's just us two in here. Why would you say that? And he starts laughing, right? And I'm curious, right? Because I'm like, who was that for? Because usually it's like, oh, you're in a room full of people, someone says something that kind of sounds like, I don't know, it's just like, hey, what's going on, Mr. Dragon, or some shit. And they're just like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm gonna be dragging my nuts across, and it's a room full of people, right? And it's just like mayhem ensues because I work with 40-year-old 3-year-olds, and they just go nuts, like, right? So, but it's just me and him in this elevator. So I was like, hey man, who's that for? I'm like, it's just us. And he just looks at me, and he can't stop laughing. I was like, it's honestly pretty funny, but yeah, that's kind of what happens on a daily basis at my job. Don't really want to get too much into what I do, but yeah, that was that for that. And now, yeah, I picked up running this year. I used to run a little bit back in the day when I was in the military, but I fell off. Even while I was in the military, I fell off a little bit. But I was at a pretty good like mileage or mile time when I was in, especially when I first started. I was running around like 7-minute miles, and I don't know if you could tell my stature here, but I am not a small individual. I'm about 250 pounds, and at the time when I was running those 7 miles, I was probably about 200 pounds. But the beginning of the year, this year, January, I was 275 pounds. I was like, all right, something's got to change. And, I tried a couple stints at the gym and stuff like that, like just going on a weightlifting program. I did a weightlifting program at the local gym. The local gym that I go to is a pretty cool, like, aesthetic. Like, it's a bunch of, like, it's like because usually when, like, you go to do like a true bodybuilding gym, it's usually like grungy, and plates are rusted over, and fucking there's like loose needles in the water fountain, but not this place. This place is like super super nice, super clean, super new, and it has like really good equipment, and the vibes are like high in there. Everyone in there is trying to like do some competitions and stuff like that. And like, I wasn't looking to do a competition, I just liked the gym. And they were offering like I think it was like a 16-week transformation, or 12 weeks, something like that. So I ended up signing up to do that. And that was like right after I had the babies. And when we had the babies, I was about 285 when the babies were born. So I got down to about 245. I lost about 40 pounds when I did that challenge. And I don't think I was probably around like 270 to 265 when I started the challenge. So it wasn't like I did 40 pounds in 16 or 12 weeks, whatever it was. But I lost a little bit of weight before the challenge started. And then when the challenge started, I lost the rest. And then I had to go on like a hiatus for work. Like, I had to leave the state for a couple months. So I kind of got out of touch with the gym. And then when I got back, I just put the pounds back on. I got back up to 275, like I said. And then Instead of going back to the gym this time, I decided that I was going to try to run. And I don't know if you've ever been 275 pounds and tried to run, but it's not a pretty sight. It's hard. It's bad. It's bad on the knees and the ankles and all the joints and stuff. But I kind of eased into it. I had a Strava membership, and I don't know if it was just like at the time Strava and Runna, which is another app that makes plans. I don't know if it was just the combined membership was working at that point and they changed it recently, or if I somehow got a free couch to 5K plan. But anyway, I started doing that, and I started feeling good. Like I said, I'm down about 25 pounds, and I got back into running recently. But when I was running previously, last Sunday, I typically run about like 2.5 miles, and like that's like my sweet spot. And I try to do a lot of zone 2, especially right now, because I'm not really pushing pace. Like my average mile is probably somewhere around 12 minutes, which is like a huge step from where it was previously, but it's still 5 minutes slower than what I used to run. And now, granted, I am 50 pounds heavier and about 8 years older, so to get back there is probably gonna take some time. So I've been working on the zone 2, get the engine running smooth. When you're pounding like 3 monsters a day, once you hit like around that 265 mark, you start getting them on little heart palpies, and that doesn't feel good. So if you want to continue to drink 3 monsters a day, you got to at least be under 260 pounds. Anyway, last Sunday, I doubled my mileage for a day, and it was like a combination of things where I just, instead of running 2.5, I ran 5. My goal is to run a 10K, which I think is 6.4 miles, but I only got to 5, and I got to 5 barely. I think it's a combination of things. Like I didn't drink as much water. I wasn't as hydrated as I should have been. It was 20 degrees hotter than it normally is. It was about 80 degrees. It was like the first hot day of the year for me, but it's about 80 degrees. I'm usually running under 60, and I doubled the mileage, right? So just a combination of things. And I noticed when I was after I finished running, I didn't notice it when I was running, but after I finished running, there was my left foot locked up. Like it was just like I was sitting in my car and my foot was just like that. And the shoes that I got, I'm not like a super picky person about shoes. It's like I buy most of my shoes at like Marshalls or like TJ Maxx or something like that. Like I'm not. I have like a fat lesbian rugby club team player in college. Like that's my style, like the aesthetic that I really go for. So that's why I buy most of my stuff at Marshalls. Like I really don't care. Like it's like and the selection at Marshalls is not like fantastic. Like sometimes you'll get like Nikes or Adidas or New Balances or something like that in there. And I don't really go for those, but you'll get like Hey Dudes Vans, and it'll be in obscure sizes. Like you'll be like, oh, these are a nice pair of Vans. What size are they? And it's like, oh, they're a 27. These are Shaq's Vans, and he didn't want them anymore, so now Marshalls has. But like the selection's not fantastic there, but so I kind of just get what I can. And I saw a pair of New Balance running shoes, and I grabbed them. And as soon as I put them on, I noticed I was like, "Oh, these are super comfortable, right?" They had a lot of cushion, but the heel drop, like where my foot was sitting, was like super low, and then it had like max arch support. So it was like you just imagine how it feels where your foot is sinking to the ground, and the middle of your foot is raised a lot. And like I didn't really think anything of it when I was young. I was like, "Oh, these are comfortable." So. And I was sitting there asking Claude, like I was sitting there in the shoe aisle, just texting Claude away. I was like, "Hey man, like it was between my shoe selection was between like these competition New Balances that have like a carbon plate, and just like, hey man, those aren't good for training. Like you're gonna torch your knees because you're 250 pounds and you're gonna be running in competition shoes. Like those are not good for you because of all like the bounce in there." And then the other selection was like a size 12 and a half pair of Brooks, and like Brooks are good running shoes, so I was like surprised that they were even there. But and they were black, black with like a couple of gray accents, like pretty good color section, because most of the time you get like Adidas or New Balance or Nike or something like that, they'll be in the most obscene colors that you can ever think of. Like the other New Balance, or the first New Balance pair that was the competition, or like a highlighter vest orange, like neon orange with like purple and pink. And I have no business being in neon orange shoes at 250 pounds. You know what I mean? Maybe if I was like, maybe if I looked good while running, like I could wear those. But like right now, it's just like I'm like wearing like a Wrangler t-shirt and neon shoes. Like I said, fat lesbian aesthetic that plays club rugby in college. But anyway, so those are the two pairs that is between those two or the shoes that I got, which were also New Balances, and they were like a normal color, navy blue, and they were comfy. So I got those, and then I've been using them for like about a month now. They're like, I think it was like $60 for a pair of New Balance running shoes, like trainers. I'm like, that's not bad at all. So I was wearing those, and they really haven't posed any problems. Like normally in my 2.5 mile run, it's like not long enough for it to cause problems for me. But like towards like I would say probably towards like the 2 mile mark and that last half mile, I was getting some pain in my left ankle. But I have notoriously bad ankles from when I was in the military. Like the amount of time, and like when playing like sports in high school and college and stuff like that, like I was just torching my ankles because, well, I'm an athlete, and athletes have skinny ankles. So I have, like, my ankles are probably about the same size as my wrists. And look how big this or tiny this garment looks on my tiny wrist. See that? So I honestly forgot I had these glasses on. But if you're listening to this, you wouldn't know that. And if you're watching this, you shouldn't be. But anyway, back to the shoes. So I got the shoes, and like I said, at the 2 mile mark, I was getting pain in my left foot, but I didn't really think anything of it, I'm just because I'm a heavy guy and I'm running. But when I did the 5, like I said, absolutely locked up. I got out of the car, about a 15-minute drive back home from the park, and I got back home, and my foot was torched, right? Like I couldn't walk. I was crawling around. You know how hard it is to be a father and yell at your kid from your knees because you can't stand up? You know what I mean? Like you can't take a step. Being injured and being a parent is like the funniest thing in the world. Like I'm on my knees practically eye level with my 2-year-olds, and I'm like, hey, stop doing that. And they look at me like, yeah, whatever, guy. And they take off, right? Like they're almost 2, so they're taking off. They're flying. And I can't keep up. I gotta I'm not gonna walk around on my knees, I gotta crawl. But yeah, I literally couldn't take a step. But as soon as I was like, all right, let's put them down for a nap. So I put them down for a nap, and then I go and I take a shower, and I must have loosened some things up, and so I do what any normal person does in 2026, and I ask AI, I'm like, hey, this just happened to me. I don't know what it was. I'm fine now, but do you have any idea like why this would happen? Is like maybe you have too much arch support in your shoes. So yeah, so I mean, is saying maybe you have too much arch support in your shoes, and your ligaments weren't used to going for that distance. So when your ligaments and your tendons actually had to, and the muscles in the arch had to actually do some work on that that extra 2.5 miles, you really felt it. And I've never had like a poor arch or anything like that. It was just I just thought arch support was good, but maybe too much arch support isn't that good, depending on your feetsies. Anyway, so yesterday I went to a running store. They had me walk around, and they could see all my messed up pronations and kind of see if I was flat-footed or if I had a good arch or whatever. And she said that I didn't really pronate that much, the woman who was giving me the fitting and all that. But she gave me these shoes, and the whole idea, so there's not that much arch support in the middle there, and there's not heel drop, but the way it works is when you step, it kind of shifts the weight to the outside of the foot. So when you're stepping, instead of like your ankle turning in like that, it keeps the weight on the outside. So I guess it's more of like a slide out. I haven't run in them yet. I was supposed to run them today, but it was raining, and I didn't want to run in the rain. And I guess it's kind of just an excuse not to run. But as soon as I got home and ate some food, it stopped raining, and I was like, well, I already ate, so I'm done for the day. So I didn't get to run today, but I will be running tomorrow. I can't take more than 3 days off, but it's been basically 3 days since I ran last, and that was when I hurt my ankle. So I wasn't really in a rush to get back into it because I couldn't walk 3 days ago. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of quick on posting again. Now I know that the first video was more of like a YouTube style video, like I was saying earlier, and it wasn't really probably all that nice to listen to because I didn't really explain what I was doing in a way that would be beneficial to audio listeners. If anyone listened on audio, I don't think I had any actual audio listeners. I think all the views were on YouTube, which kind of fits, but I just wanted to come back and try a different style where it's just me talking, like an actual podcast, just kind of feel like more of the vibes. And like I'm wearing these glasses because I know at least I can see that I look absolutely ridiculous right now, and that's fine, but if I it's better that because I can actually see how ridiculous I look on the screen versus not having them on and still feeling ridiculous. Like it's like the kid from Big Daddy where he wears his glasses and no one can see him. That's how I feel right now. Like I wipe my own ass. I absolutely wipe my own ass. But anyway, yeah, so this is kind of like more of the idea of what I'm trying to shoot for here is just like me talking to the camera and like me getting more comfortable. And I have like a hypothesis that if I post on a fairly like overly consistent basis, like I'm talking like every day, every other day, I feel like the longer I'll do it, I'm like a creature of habit. Like if when I'm working out or when I'm running, it has to be on a fairly consistent basis, like 3 days. It's like 3 days max in between, or I won't do it again ever. Maybe I won't do it again for like another 6 months. When I look at the scale again, I'm like, God damn, big boy. But yeah, I don't know. And like being in front of camera or in front of the camera, the more and more that I'm in front of the camera, the more and more that I'm just talking and basically at the wall here, I feel like the more and more comfortable I get at it. And like, I feel like it's so weird, right? Because, when you want to do something like this, you just hop in. Well, I'll be driving to work. I have long drive to work, about an hour 15 minutes every day. And that's just one way. But you think about, like, yeah, I could talk about this and like I could talk about that and like all the stuff I could talk about and like I'd be really good at talking about this and then you sit here and you look at this camera lens and you're like, what was I thinking? What? I don't remember any of that. And like I tried writing some notes here about like certain things that I want that I like could touch on, but it's like even just going based on that is like hard. Yeah, and because you feel like you can like it'll come out good when you're in the car and you're driving, you're like, wow, this will come out good, or you're in the shower or something, wherever you think. You're like, that would sound sick. Like I'd be so fucking good at fucking this podcast shit. I swear, just get me in front of a camera and fucking watch me go to work. I'm entertaining as fuck. And like that's what my head sounds like. Like I'm the most entertaining person in the world. But like obviously not. I made a podcast called No One's Watching so I could tell people not to watch it. But here I am in a pair of yellow framed hexagon sunglasses because I'm too scared to look at the camera with my real eyes. Shit. But yeah, I think I'll end it there. I mean, wish I had more to talk about, but that's like also the problem with trying to do this every 3 days. Like I gotta live a little bit more. I gotta be a little bit more extrovert in public and talk to people and try to formulate some funny stories or something, or maybe like have like a topic or something. I don't know. I'm new to this, and no one's supposed to be watching this anyway. This is just for me. This is a creative outlet, and I was just happy that I was able to get in front of a microphone and a camera today and talk about nonsense. Big fan of nonsense. But like I said, not a fan of Costco, not a fan of Sam's Club. Fan of regular grocery stores, but not the freaks who work there. I'm gonna try to keep more track of my interactions with that guy at work and see if he does that kind of stuff more often, where he's just saying outlandish shit at outlandish times. I can use this as a way to keep myself up to date on like running and keep myself accountable on running as well. I want to get in the gym eventually too, because I'm starting to get, I've been flabby for a while here, but like, could tighten things up a little bit. But anyway, I think I'm going to end it there. About 37 minutes until I edit it down into absolutely nothing. Hopefully I don't have to do too much editing. I mean, there were some pauses, but not too many. And it was kind of felt like a natural flow. I ramble. That's the point. I would say see you next time, but you shouldn't be watching. And hopefully this one gets even less views than the last one, which means just I'm just watching it less myself. Hopefully I don't see you again on No One's Watching. And if you are watching, you can pop over to my website. It's called, or the domain is stopwatching.today, and you can find all like the socials and stuff on there. And I have 2 subscribers who are my best friends, but if anyone else wants to subscribe, maybe do it, maybe don't. Don't know if it's worth it yet. See ya.